Shalom Yasharallah, this your brother Dawudah, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone that taught us his truth and never will. And salutation, much love for you, Aki, pushing his truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So I want to jump into this here lesson real fast, dealing with this here holiday that's being brought up. What they're calling Juneteenth. All right, actually it's called, the whole name of it would be, let me see. Juneteenth, National Independence Day. All right. Nevertheless, jumping into this here article, hey, they always like to give Jake something to woo them back to sleep, make them think that they're feeling like, how do I say, a part of some type of system. Because, you got these little stupid ass Jakes that are like, oh, see, they're giving us a holiday, things are changing, they ain't the way that they are, and so on and so forth. But then you also have these coons out here just like this, we'll get to it in this here article about this chick, Candace Owens, who I believe is probably more than likely a damn Edomite, all right, just by the way that she's acting. But nevertheless, hey, we do have some of our people that literally act like this, man, both in the northern and the southern kingdom, where they feel like if they sit there and go against so-called black people or so-called Hispanic people and just, be side by side with the so-called white man, that they'll look at them as if they white, like they don't see their skin color and everything like that. No, they just use you as their puppet to get their agenda along, because they could use somebody like her to say all this here stuff against so-called black people, where people will be like, well, she black, they could say those types of things, but it's basically coming from the so-called white man's mouth. But nevertheless, as far as going on in this here independence, all right, and like this coon said, oh, I'm only celebrating the 4th of July, my Independence Day. Obviously, this bitch don't know her goddamn history, because in 1776, your ass was still in slavery when they wrote the Declaration of Independence, when they was talking about that they was free. Your ancestors was still in slavery. You know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, let's read this here article. It says, Juneteenth is so lame, Candace Owens hammered for criticizing America's newest holiday. Slack it, give me 1 second. All right, getting back to this here article, it says, Juneteenth is so lame, Candace Owens hammered for criticizing America's newest holiday. All right, and ultimately, we're not looking for no holidays like this and nothing like that, man. All right, because ultimately they talk about, well, this is when you guys were the last of the slaves was so-called freed at this point in time. But, they just transferred, and that's what the word emancipation goes for, the transfer. We went from being privately owned to being publicly owned. All right, instead, you would have Mr. Jones and Mr. whoever that would own you at that point in time. All right, you worked in their plantation. All right, where they went and they bought and they sold you. But nowadays they just switched it up to where it's now a public situation, to where the corporations pretty much own you, and then they basically allow you to go and choose your job, because that's one of the things that they found in slavery. They was like, well, if we allow the slaves to choose their own jobs, then they would be better slaves and better workers, would be less likely to revolt. If we, gave them certain times off, they would be less likely to revolt. They, like the scripture said, gift destroyeth the heart. Let's get into this here article. It says, both parties back efforts to make Juneteenth a federal holiday. And you got to understand why they doing all these things for Jake all of a sudden right now. It's not because of Joe Biden, all right, or nothing like that, man. This is a time now, we're in a crucial time to where Jake is starting to wake up from these things, all right? And they don't need, all these different Jakes, like with Martin Luther King. Now I don't really agree with nothing that Martin Luther King was really about, because what people don't realize is that we had our own everything. You go back, you understand about Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We owned our own things, but when we were segregated, all right, Jake had their Jake neighborhoods like now, and Esau had his neighborhoods just like now. But the only difference was everything in Jake's neighborhood, Jake owned, all right? And so we wanted, you hear the stories about, oh, we want our kids to be equal and go to school with their kids and so on and so forth. All right, well, when we started integrating what they asked, guess what happened? The schools that we owned, that we was making money off of and teaching our own kids about what we wanted to teach them about, now we had to get rid of those, sell them to the so-called white man, or have them take it away. And then we sent our kids to their schools to let them teach us. All right, when we owned our own bus lines, because we wanted to, quote unquote, ride on the bus with them, and again, they just put these certain faces out there to make you think like that. Jake wasn't really trying to ride on no goddamn bus with them. Jake wasn't really trying to go into their damn restaurants and eat their food, because we had our own food, the way we like to eat our food, and we was making money off of our own things. I mean, we had our own sides of towns. But Martin Luther King, right before he wound up dying or getting killed, one of the things that he came to realize was how he was being played, and the fact of the power of black economics, quote unquote, black economics, and how, we don't need to be integrated. We need to stay segregated so that we could have some money. And they wound up killing them because if too many Jakes woke up to those things, they would have a threat. All right, I forgot what president it was. I don't know if it was Nixon. One of them presidents said, and this was I believe with the CIA. All right, one of their main missions was to stop the rise of a black messiah. All right, basically, and not in the sense of like Yahushua coming back, but in the sense of somebody to wake Jake up to realize that, like, yo, we didn't rock y'all to sleep. You know what I'm saying? Y'all had your own stuff, but if y'all was to ever wake up to these things, all right, if Jake would, Jake be so happy about going to go get a damn job, but then you try to talk them into owning their own business. They're like, well, I don't want to go do all that. I don't need all that extra stress. Like, see, you keep working for somebody, you're going to always be somebody's servant. You can't pass down your job, your position to your children. You can't grow and expand with that. Yeah, whatever business that you're doing, let's say you're cutting grass, they can keep expanding how many yards you're cutting. You start out cutting 10, then they put another 10 on you. Now you got 20, now you got 30. They ain't paying you no more money. You're just out there longer in the day. Versus if you owned your own business, you went from them 10 to those 20, then your income is going to double, man. All right, but see, Jake, they don't realize that. But this is what they was trying to stop, was the so-called rise of a black messiah. Basically, what we out there doing right now, waking Jake up to the truth, all right? And then knowledge is power, all right? Once we stop doing and believing and following the things after them, like, let's say, for instance, if we had it our way and we was waking Jake up, like, in the masses like that, guess what will happen to the hip-hop, the money that they make off of hip-hop, man? All right, that shit would cease overnight because we would be waking our people like, yo, y'all don't want this shit. Y'all don't want to be putting in money into these people who is promoting drugs, violence, and so on and so forth, the music industry, and who owns all those record labels, those radio stations, and all those different things like that. That's Esau that owns all that. So that shit would stop overnight, man. All right. But nevertheless, going back into this here article, all right, it says, both parties backed efforts to make Juneteenth a federal holiday, but even moderate conservatives aren't jumping for joy. Black conservative Candace Owens drew outrage on Twitter when she called the new holiday lame. President Joe Biden signed legislation on Thursday to make June 19th, Juneteenth, a federal holiday, proclaiming that all Americans can feel the power of this day. A day earlier, the bill passed the House of Representatives after a 415-14 vote, with only 14 Republicans voting against commemorating the day that the last slaves in the South learned of their freedom in 1865. Now, look at this date, 1865, right? Now, you're going to make a statement about this, and I hate when Jake be out there, like, celebrating the 4th of July. Oh, it's Independence Day. For what? You wasn't free. Talking about, oh, we got constitutional rights and this and that. No, the Constitution say every man was born free and life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But your ass was in slavery at that time, so you're not included in that. Just like the 4th of July, you're not included in that. Just like on Thanksgiving, the so-called, really the Negroes as well too, but so-called Native Americans, they were celebrating killing y'all. That's what they was thankful for. So for you to be celebrating these holidays and not knowing these things, oh, that was in the past, forget about it. But then now they want to give you this holiday. Now Jake want to jump on that. Oh, see, we got something for us. Jake is just so dumb. They don't understand these things. But we're going to actually have a holiday. We still in captivity right now. But we're going to actually have a holiday, man. And it's going to be one of our biggest holidays that we have. Like right now, one of our biggest holiday, damn near the biggest holiday that we have is the Passover, man. All right. That was celebrating our first Independence Day. All right. But then we're not going to really talk about that Independence Day no more. We're going to talk about our new Independence Day. So if Jake really wanted to celebrate an Independence Day, why don't you celebrate the Passover? That is actually your holiday when the Lord came and set you free. But yet, you got to try to fight Jake to try to get them to go and do that. They want to go and do a cookout on the 4th of July and eat some pork and all kind of shit like that. But they don't want to partake in the Passover, eat some lamb, you know what I'm saying, and some bitter herb. And remember when they was leaving up out of Egypt, man. All right. But it says, plenty of pundits and commentators on the right got behind the new black holiday, but some were unimpressed. Candace Owens, a black conservative hardly known for hardline views, and notice how they keep saying a black. Obviously, we can see that she's black, right? But they keep putting that on there. Like, well, it's not white people saying this, so it's not racist, But like I said, they use them as their little lapdogs to go out there and do their little biddings. It says, Candace Owens, a black conservative hardly known for hardline views, declared on Thursday night that Juneteenth is so lame and accused the Democrats behind the bill of trying to repackage segregation. All right. And then again, like I said, what would be so wrong about segregation? We already segregated. You got the Jake neighborhoods, they call them the hoods, and then you got like where the Edomites live at in their neighborhoods, man. All right. But the thing is in our neighborhoods, other nations own all the establishments and everything there, man. The public schools, that's owned by Esau, man. The gas stations, the corner stores, those are owned by these other nations and things like that, man. All right. It says, let me read her little tweet. It says, well, I'll read it down here. It says, I'll be celebrating July 4th and July 4th only, she tweeted. I'm American. Really? But again, it says Owen was honored by pro-Juneteenth commentators when they got their independence in 1776. Your ancestors were still slaves. One tweeted calling her a disgrace to the black community. And again, like I said, man, and this is supposed to be a politician. She should have known all these things. But, you know, you got our people that's running around celebrating the 4th of July and everything like that. And then all of a sudden, you know, they don't want to celebrate the Passover. Oh, it's the 4th of July, put their little flags out and shoot their little fireworks and have a little barbecue and things like that. But then you try to tell them to celebrate the Passover. They don't want to hear nothing about that, man. All right, I'm like, bruh, you was in captivity still. You was enslaved. You still in slavery now. But back then, you was actually on a plantation in slavery when they were celebrating their first Independence Day, man. All right. It says, prior to the latest bill becoming law, some 46 states recognize Juneteenth in one way or another. Texas, where the last slaves learned their emancipation, has marked the holiday since 1980. However, Biden's establishment of the new federal holiday has drawn criticism from other mainstream conservatives. And then we really think about it like, yo, for any of these damn people in the government to be going against this here holiday, that's stupid. That's just one more paid holiday. Yo ass get the fuck off. Now, ain't nothing wrong with it. Like, if you got a job like that and you get 4th of July off, ain't nothing wrong with just fucking, you know, hey, they gonna pay you to stay at home or whatever. But be sitting out there decorating your damn yard with flags and everything like that and talking about some honoring the 4th of July and everything. Man, come on, man. All right. It says, America only has one Independence Day, and it's July 4th, 1776. Conservative activist Charlie Kirk tweeted on Thursday, we now have 2 summer holidays, and one of them is based on race. Well, they're both based on race, all right? The other one, like we reading into, all right, what was the condition or the status of the so-called slaves on this date in 1776 and July 4th back then? What was the status of the so-called Negro at that point in time, all right? And what made them slaves? It was based off of their race, all right? They wasn't enslaving them so-called white folk like that, man. All right, it was Jake that was all enslaved because of the color of their skin or their race. Basically, really, ultimately, it's because they were Israelites, but you know, in layman's terms, because they were so-called black. All right, well, who was celebrating their independence? Who came over here was on July 4th, 1776, July 4th, 1777, July 4th, 1778. Who the fuck was celebrating that holiday? The so-called white men, the Edomites, based off of their race. So you got 2 of these that's based off of race, man. All right. It says, we now have 2 summer holidays, and one of them is based on race, he tweeted earlier that day. Shame on the GOP for supporting this. Again, let me read the top of his tweet. It says, Lincoln knew America's founding was July 4th, 1776. He knew that it was the day of our amazing nation made a step from ideal to reality. Right. Again, we were still in captivity on that day. Like Owens, Kirk was slammed for his comments, especially since it appeared to back the idea of a federal recognized Juneteenth when then President Donald Trump floated the idea last year. While Biden touted Juneteenth as a holiday for all Americans to reflect on progress since the times of slavery, there were others who wanted the holiday to carry a more racialist message. Multiple Republican-run states are moving to ban the teaching of the critical race theory, an academic discipline that puts race at the center of every human interaction and considers America an inherently racist and white supremacist country. I mean, what was it? How was it founded, man? All right, if you was so-called black over here, you knew your ass didn't have no rights over here, man. All right. In classrooms, and some progressives were upset the kids won't learn a CRT-infused version of Juneteenth in school. I do think it's somewhat contradictory in terms of folks coming out and saying we should recognize Juneteenth as a holiday, yet we shouldn't be allowed to teach some of the finer points of Juneteenth, of what Juneteenth really is. Academic Stefan Laliger told the Huffington Post on Thursday. Some commentators on the right of Owens and Kirk have decried Juneteenth as a CRT holiday. The official name of the federal Juneteenth holiday is Juneteenth National Independence Day, an extension of the 1619 Project CRT, and everything else. Right-wing commentator Nick Fuentes tweeted, "A new Independence Day for a new third world America." All right. So nevertheless, like I said, man, this is something that's going on out in the news right now. And, you have to understand why they're bringing these things out now. Like the scripture say, a gift destroyeth the heart. All right. So real quick. Well, let me read. Where is that at? Let me read this first. This is Daniel chapter 9 and verse 12. It says, "And he have confirmed his words which he has spake against us and against our judges that judged us by bringing upon us a great evil, for under the whole heaven have not been done as have been done unto Jerusalem." Right now, confirming his words, we're gonna actually grab it. But what was this great evil? All right, first of all, the curses fell upon us, and part of those curses would be bringing Esau. Well, let's just grab it. This is Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 64. It says, "And Yahweh shall scatter thee from among and Yahweh shall scatter thee among all people from one end of the earth even to the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods which neither thou nor thy fathers have known. And among these nations thou shalt find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest, but Yahweh shall give thee a trembling of heart, and failing of eyes, and sorrow of mind." And when you go back and watch any of these slave movies or anything about slavery, that's the condition that we were in, man. All right, we trembled for fear of our life day in and day out, man. We was in hardcore bondage and captivity to the so-called white man. Verse 66. "And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and thou shalt have no assurance of thy life. In the morning thou wilt say, would the Most High were even, and at even thou wilt say, would the Most High were morning, for the fear of thy heart wherein thou shalt fear, and for the sight of thy eyes which thou shalt see. And Yahweh shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee, and thou shalt see it no more. And there you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you." All right, and that's how we got over to this here land, all right, on cargo slave ships, all right? When it says no man shall buy you, we were on auction box, and people were buying us, all right? But going into this here buy you, no man shall buy you, means no man shall redeem you. Nobody's going to take us up out of this condition, all right? Since they talking about the emancipation, all right, and all those things, we still in captivity right now, all right? This is why you have these people screaming about Black Lives Matter. Oh, our lives count, our lives matter. Y'all just treat us like dogs, we in slavery, and so on and so forth. And hey, nothing's really changed, man. All right, they took the physical chains from around our necks, and they put them, gave us mental chains around our minds, man. All right, making us think that we're free, man. All right, it's just like, what they would do. Sometimes they would have they were saying, look, man, if we, tear down the fences on our plantations, it'll make it look bigger so the slave don't feel like he's in captivity and things like that, man. So you could be in prison as long as you, widen the walls of it, far apart. You wouldn't even think that you was in prison, man. All right. What else? I was gonna grab something else before my next precept, but nevertheless, let me grab this real quick while I'm thinking about it. Let me start here. Jeremiah chapter 16 and verse 10. "And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt show this people all these words, and they shall say unto thee, wherefore hath Yahweh pronounced all this great evil against us? Or what is our iniquity, or what is our sin that we have committed against Yahweh our power?" All right, and so now as our people start waking up to understand what's going on, it's like, yo, man, you ain't in captivity because the so-called white man just took your ass in captivity. No. You in captivity because we wound up sinning against our power. We broke the covenant that we made with him. Verse 11 says, "Then thou shalt say unto them, because your fathers have forsaken me, saith Yahweh, and have walked after other gods, and have served them, and have worshipped them, and have forsaken me, and they have not kept my law. And ye have done worse than your fathers, for behold, ye walk every one after the imagination of his evil heart, and that they may not hearken unto me." So this is the condition of why we wound up going into captivity, all right? Verse 13 says, "Therefore will I cast you out of this land, and into a land that ye know not, neither ye nor your fathers, and there you shall serve other gods day and night, and I will not show you favor." Now, when you look at us, this is our condition, man. All right, from way back then all the way up until now, man. All right, and this is, we just been in captivity unto captivity unto captivity unto captivity. All right, like Jake was saying to who was it, Samuel? All right, when the Israelites, we were asking for a king to reign over us. Samuel was pissed But the Most High told Samuel, was like, look, man, they not rejecting you from reigning over them. They don't want me to reign over them. So look, I'm gonna give them this here king that they asking for, and this is what he gonna wind up doing. He gonna make y'all serve him, and so on and so forth. Y'all want to be like these other nations? All right, y'all gonna be like these other nations. Y'all got a power, a living power to lead you and follow you. None of the other nations have these things, all right? But you have a living power, but you don't want that power to rule over you. You want to have a greedy person, greedy man ruling over you, you know what I'm saying? Like basically, to serve his own will and his own purposes, man. All right. Verse 14, therefore, behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that it should be no more said, Yahweh liveth, that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. All right. And this is why we celebrate or commemorate the Passover. All right. This is basically going into that our first Independence Day. All right. When we came up out of Egypt. All right. So let me read verse 14 again. It says, therefore, behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that it shall be no more said, Yahweh liveth, that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. Now, they still to this day make movies and plays about the Exodus and things like that. You just say the word Exodus, people already know what, they'll think about that. All right, the splitting of the Red Sea, the Israelites coming up out of there. All right, our Independence Day is so big and so great that the whole world knows about that, man. All right, it ain't just like, oh, well, fuck it, it's America's Independence Day or whatever, nothing like that. No, man, the whole world know about our Independence Day, man, and it's still being celebrated to this same very day, even from way back when, all right? You can't remember about the Roman Independence Day, all right, or the Grecian Independence Day, the Babylonian Independence Day, and guess what? Our Independence Day came before all of those nations even came into power, man, all right? And we still celebrate that. Well, if you're in this here truth, we celebrate that to this here day, but guess what? And they still talk about it to this same day. All right, verse 15 says, but Yahweh, let me read 14 again. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that it shall no more be said. All right, so we're not going to talk about this no more. Yahweh liveth, that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. But Yahweh liveth, that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north and from all the lands whither he had driven them. And I will bring them again into their land that I gave their fathers. All right, so going into this, and just said, look, we're not going to talk about when we came up out of Egypt no more. That first Exodus, we're going to stop talking about that. All right, and when are we going to do that? When the Lord delivers us out of it says, but Yahweh liveth, that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north, all right, here in America, and from all the lands where he had driven them, all right? And it says, and I will bring them into their land that I gave unto their fathers. So when we go back into the land of Israel, all right, when we get delivered up out of here, this is us being saved, all right, we're going to forever celebrate that Independence Day about us coming up out of America and all the other places, the four corners of the earth. All right. And in the midst of that, hey, man, we're going to be delivered from out of thermonuclear destruction. All right. We talk about, us walking through the Red Sea on dry ground. All right. And flooding the Pharaoh's army. But this is going to be in the midst of World War III. All right. The thermonuclear missiles coming down, turning this place into a pile of ash and dust. All right. And we're going to be delivered up out of those things, man. And we're going to come back out and we're going to subdue the whole nation, the whole globe after that, man. That's going to be our new Independence Day. That's going to be the day that we're going to be celebrating. This is going to be a day that's going to be commemorated throughout the whole earth after this, man. All right. So, hey, man, we don't need no Juneteenth. We don't need no reparations. The Most High got all this here set up for us, man. All we got to do is believe on him, have faith, sit back and have patience. And he's about to give us all these things, deliver all these things into our hands, man. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and close out with that. Lord willing, this here lesson was edifying unto the elect. Until next time, I say, call halal, Yahweh, Shem, Yahushua, Bahashim, Rakak, Radash. Double honor to the apostles and elders, a great millstone that taught us his truth and ever will. And salutation, much love for you, I can push in his truth and sincerity on the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Till next time, I say, stay strong. Shalom.